Hey everybody, this is Mike with the One Stop Co-op Shop, and today I'm doing a playthrough of Stonesaga, the newest one from Open Owl Studios, and disclaimer that I got a review copy of this one. And if you like the content on the One Stop Co-op Shop, consider supporting us through Patreon. You get early access to our videos and exclusive videos every month you can't see anywhere else. You can also listen to our weekly podcast for reviews and design discussions, or join the conversation and say hi on our Discord. So Stonesaga is a very cool survival campaign game. I just finished playing through the tutorial and a bit further into that campaign, but I am completely starting over for what I'm going to show you now. So I have some knowledge, I'll explain things, but you're going to see what a new campaign would look like. And I'm using the Whispers of the North Wind campaign start, which is kind of the standard campaign start once you've gotten past the tutorial. And you start by creating your characters. As the campaign goes along, you'll keep characters and they'll actually become legends that can help out your other characters. Lots of cool stuff going on here. That is really part of the campaign model. But since I'm starting out, we're just starting fresh. So what I do is I'm going to roll 5 dice, and the total of them needs to be 14 or higher. I'm not sure if I made, actually, no, I definitely made it there. 11, 13, 15, 17, yep. So then I drop my lowest number, and I get to divide the other 4 numbers amongst my stats. Might, dexterity, conviction, and awareness. And let's see, we'll make this one have good conviction and might, but not great dexterity and awareness. And we give him a name, Thorgar. And they start out as young. Basically, each character will survive through 2 sessions if time kind of passes normally, and then they'll fade into legend. And then finally, you get to pick one of 5 starting traits. There are a whole bunch more of these, which I did not realize when I first made my characters. So you really got to save some space. In fact, I'm just going to use like the first 3 letters. So cunning, intrepid, indomitable, resourceful, and wise. Thorgar seems indomitable. So there we go. All right, and character number 2. Oh, that was a great roll. So we dropped the 1. And we'll try to cover Thorgar's weaknesses. So we'll do a 6 dexterity and a 5 awareness and a 4 in the other 2. And we'll call them Helena. I don't know. And they can be cunning. Then you're going to slot the thing in. It doesn't really hold it perfectly, but there you go. So there's Helena's character sheet. You are picking one of these mantles. There are 4 of them. But at the beginning of a campaign, it doesn't matter at all because later on, you'll unlock these mantle powers that go in here. But at the beginning of the campaign, you don't have those, and you can freely switch your mantle each session. So like literally at first, it just is whichever miniature you want to use. And they're each going to get a number of energy based on player count. It is recommended for solo that you control 2 characters, and they each get 5 energy. You can do hardcore solo mode, where it's you and an animal helper, but I'm not doing that. And here's Thorgar, in case you want to see him too. I also had to reset several decks to their basic composition, so I have very few journey cards, very few night cards. As you complete each session, more will get added to that. But that's all explained in this first game setup sheet, so it's pretty straightforward. All right, then we construct the initial map. I had to choose either to start in a valley with forests or in a prairie with prairies. I did the forest last time, so I'm doing the prairie this time. So I get a starting area. There we go. My people will be there. And then I randomize 2 of the other hexes and place them on here. These are these trays that kind of control everything in the game. You'll add more trays. In fact, I think for Whispers of the North Wind, I'm about to add one in a second. But that's the basic map setup. And your people will be there, although I'll leave them off for a second because I will be explaining what these features here mean first. And we're just about done. Setup is very quick. Let's read the flavor text for Whispers of the North Wind and then get our goals. The ancient frosts have parted, and your people have arrived in an uninhabited vale. You must first construct an outpost and equip yourselves for the winters to come. What wonders will you find here? Okay, so I get some immediate goals. Establish an outpost and ongoing goals. Those ones will continue across sessions, so are not required for me to finish this challenge, whereas the establish an outpost is part of actually completing the challenge and moving on. Those are gather stores, seek the omens, and stoke the flame. Here's what a goal looks like. So here, I'll explain this first one. The others we can see as they come up. Establish an outpost. Nights in the valley are cold, and shadows stalk under the moonlight. Using supplies gathered previously, you can build a refuge. So we can spend 4 energy, that's what that little symbol there is, to build an outpost. This is like kind of a standard action, but the first time you do it, this kind of teaches you how. And then you get to put an outpost overlay on your hex. You actually cover up some of the stuff on the hex. And yeah, once we complete that, this will get flipped over and we'll get a new goal because to actually beat this challenge, there are other ones. But yes, gather stores means we basically have to get a bunch of food to feed our people. Stoke the flame, it teaches us how to make fire, which is going to be helpful for a lot of crafting stuff. And then seek the omens is kind of a generic thing. We could find omens that are on cards in the game. It's kind of like, I don't know, 7th Continent, 7th Citadel, where you're looking out for things. But yes, those are our goals. And let's read what else this card has. Okay, set up the valley, then expand the valley by Codex entry 889. Place your characters in the starting hex, and then after you complete, build a village, which is going to come after establish an outpost. We will see what's going on with that. So the Codex is a big book used for a lot of stuff. I will say they have a great app that I've actually been using for my plays that like automates, well not automates, but it's just a quicker way to look up stuff. You just put in the number for whatever action you're doing and it'll find it for you. So I'll be using this for the video just because it's a little bit easier to record, but I do recommend the app strongly. It saves you a lot of time not having to look through stuff here. Oh, okay. 889 is literally the same one that I read at the end of the tutorial. This makes sense now. So basically, I'm not going to show you all of this, but I'm going to add a ton of cards of a journey deck into the night deck. I shouldn't have taken them apart. Although since I'm in the plateau instead of the valley, it would have been different. And then I'm going to place another set of hexes, and some of them will have glaciers. And I'd do more if I was using the expansions, but I am not. Just the base game here. All right, that wasn't too bad. By the way, this is a game where you keep on going and going with your campaign. I think a full campaign is, what would it be? 12 to 18 sessions, I believe, because I think it's 3 epochs. So yeah, you don't have to do the stuff that I'm doing right now very often. All right, now I got to add a new tray, and it has to be next to the northernmost hex, which actually is the starting hex. So it's going to give me a lot of options. That's nice. I take some more random hexes from the plateau set. Then I have to put out a random glacier on one of their little zones there. And then I roll to, okay, I have to put another glacier on zone A on a different hex. Oh no, we'll do it like that. Or no, actually, let's do it like that. That'll mess with us less. Okay, and now without the expansions, we're ready to go. So I'll walk you through things. So the game runs through day and night phases. During the day, you get to take as many actions as you want, interacting with the features in your area, gathering resources, all that kind of stuff. And then the night phase, you want to have water and food, ideally. You want to have shelter. Then you have a little night event, and then your activity ticks up. And when your activity gets to whatever the threshold is, for this one, 17, you automatically end the scenario. But also other events will happen as you go along. So that's your main timer. You always tick that up by 1, but a lot of night cards and things will add more activity. So you might not actually get 17 rounds. You could get a lot fewer. Yeah, so I'm going to jump into the day phase. Each of us has 5 energy, and you can freely intermix your actions however you like. So like Thorgar could do 2 energy worth of stuff, then Helena could do 3 energy worth, and we could go back to Thorgar. And in fact, you can play the game simultaneously if you want to, once everyone's comfortable. I'm not going to do that today, obviously. But I'll show you some basic actions for some stuff that we need. A big thing being we just want a lot of food, because this gather stores goal says your population has grown since the days of the arrival. To make it through the coming winter, you must gather a stockpile of food. And how it works is I can put food on this card at any time, and if I can get 5 on it, the card will get completed. But otherwise, at the start of every night, if it's incomplete, I get 1 unrest in my people. There are these 4 tracks you keep track of in the token trays here. So that's your unrest and unhappiness with people. That's the activity I mentioned. Those both start at 0 in the campaign. There's also lore, which starts at 0 each session, but can let you do different activities. And your civilization's population. You don't want that to go to 0. It starts at 8 in a campaign. So yeah, it'd be good to find some food to feed ourselves and also to feed our people to get them to be happy. So let's start out with what actions you can do. And this is all summarized on these terrain cards. But on this starting hex, we have a cave, which can be used for shelter. We can also go down in there to mine up some resources. We also have a chasm, which can also be mined for resources. We have a prairie, that's this little grass here. In the other location, it would have been a forest. You can go there to forage. That can include hunting or gathering wood or other resources. And we have water. It could be a river, could be something else, but here it's a lake. That can be used for gathering water, which is very nice, of course. And then also you can go fishing there. Now, mining, foraging, and fishing all deplete the hex you're in, which means it'll cost more actions to do it. And if you do it twice, it costs 1 billion actions, 1 billion energy. But the depletion goes down 1 by day. But the core point here is that we probably don't want to stay in just the starting hex and keep on doing stuff there. But you can kind of see on the back of hexes what else might be there. Like, for example, I can pretty well see that there is some more chances for foraging food here. So maybe I'll have one person stay here and fish. We don't need to mine yet if we're trying to get a lot of food. Mining just gets you minerals, as you can imagine. And I'll have the other person go down here and forage. But let's have just one of them. I'll have Thorgar. He'll also be the one fishing. I'll have him get water. Any resources you get can be in your pack, but also can kind of be anywhere because you can hold infinite numbers of resources during the day. But in the night, you have to do what's called reconciling your inventory, and you have to actually make stuff fit in your bag, which is a super cool mechanic. But during each night before you reconcile, you want to drink one water and eat one food if possible. It's going to get you more energy. And also, usually it costs one energy to trade resources with each other. But with water and food, you can freely trade those at any time if you're in the same hex. Which means that Thorgar can give one of the 2 water he got. 1 energy for 2 water if you're at a water source, by the way. So they're both good for water this round. And now let's have Thorgar spend 2 more of his energy to go ahead and fish. We don't have to do the outpost yet. It doesn't actually do anything for you. And the starting hex has a lot of great stuff, so I don't really want to cover it up with an overlay because the outpost actually gets rid of it. And actually, I don't think we could build an overlay right now because you need specific tools to be able to build over water or build over caves or build over chasms. So we'll try to do the outpost later. But we're fishing. This is a fun little mini game. Let me show you how it works. So you shuffle up all the fishing cards, you flip the top one, and that's going to tell you the stock, what's in the area you're fishing in, and the difficulty to obtain it. So here we could get water and a river stone, but it's a 4 difficulty, higher is worse. A fish for 3 difficulty, and a codex entry or 3 fish for 8 difficulty. 8's a lot though. Then I take the next card without flipping it, and I overlay it like this, so that the little shores at the bottom and the rocks are at the top. And now I've created these little spots that I can put dice, because the next step is I'm going to roll 4 dice, and higher is better here. So mixed bag there of results. I now get to place the dice out. Single dice can go in the square locations, and up to 2 dice can go in the wider locations. And when you put 2 dice in one of these bigger rectangles, their value is summed together. And what I'm trying to do is, for whichever line crosses through the box, that's one thing that I could catch. So like this 8 here crosses through this box and this rectangle and this box. So if I put my dice here, I would potentially be getting that if things go well. Because what's going to happen is I have the 8 difficulty here. After I've placed all my dice, I'm going to take a 3rd fishing card and put it here. And here I can show you what this one has. And it'll have plus or minus numbers that will change and give you the final difficulty for catching that thing. So you're not 100% sure when you put down your dice if you have the right numbers or not. Now, that being said, I do want to get this one for 3 fish. The 491 I'm probably not going to do because that's often like an encounter with a super fish. At least that's what's happened to me in the past. And unless I have some equipment, that probably won't go very well. But an 11, unless they get a +4, that's going to be enough to get me 3 fish. That's a ton of food. Now, for these ones, I should explain the little symbols. So this one could be I forget what it's called. Hold on. All right, that's a mishap. So if you fail, you get an extra negative thing. In lakes, it's not too bad. You just spend an extra energy or lose an extra energy. You get a little tired. But if it was like a river or a wetland, you would actually get hurt. And then this is a luck symbol. That's the opposite. If you succeed at the fishing test, you get something extra. And in the case of a lake, it is 1 extra fish. Now, the nice thing is sometimes to put your dice on spots that intersect with multiple things, because that way, if the modifiers come out crazy, you can still succeed. But here, I'll just hope for luck, and I'll put the 3 and the 1 together there. So if it's a 0 or a -1, I'll get a water and a river stone. I mean, not that I guess I really need the water. Well, actually, yeah, you know what? Never mind. The luck is nice, but I have a slightly better chance of succeeding at this one and getting a fish, which is what I would want from the luck anyway. All right, so I'm locked in. And now I flip. Okay. Well, this is a mixed bag, so you got to follow the lines. So the brown one for 1 fish ended up being +2, so 5. So I failed that, but no penalty since there wasn't a mishap. If I had put them here, 4 times 2, 8. I forgot there even was a times 2. That would have been terrible, but I did get lucky because the dark blue is +0, so my 11 is more than enough for the 8. Again, I could do the codex entry, but I'm just going to get 3 fish. And that is the end of fishing. You shuffle all these cards back in because you always have the chance of using the same cards. And that, again, took me 2 energy, but now this area is depleted. So if I tried to do that again, it would cost me 3 energy. And let's see, Thorgar will get a fish. He'll give 1 to Helena for free. And we can go and put one on gather stores. All the food in the game, fish, mushrooms, or actually most of the food, there are some things you can get, will spoil to its worst side at the end of one night, and then will go away completely at the end of the second night. Now, there is no negative, like food is food, even if it's on its bad side, but it can go away. And I'm not sure, it doesn't say that the food on this card doesn't spoil, so I think I need to get 5 within the span of 2 nights to actually beat that thing. All right, Helena's going to go as planned over here to forage, and movement does not inherently cost any energy. Right now, she's got her full 5 energy. She just says where she wants to go, and we flip it over if it's not flipped already. Oh, there's a chasm there. Okay, this is going to make things harder. I'll explain in a second why. So then I start going over there, and I draw the top card of this journey deck. And first I look at the top and see if I'm going to resolve it or not. So this one says resolve if you are alone. And this is in my new hex, so I am. But it says otherwise resolve arduous journey. Let me explain that briefly because that's pretty important for like kind of how you navigate the map. Whenever the card does not apply, like if I hadn't been alone, like if I'd been moving back to be with Thorgar, then you do what's called an arduous journey, and that's very simple. How it works is if the hex sides you passed over, if either of them has an entire thing showing on the entire hex that is an obstacle, like in this case a chasm, then you spend 1 energy. Otherwise, movement is free. And also, importantly, I said spend, which is the wrong word. You lose 1 energy, so you can even move if you are out of energy. But each time you have to lose an energy and don't have any left, you instead get an injury. So it's not necessarily a good idea to do, but you can like always get where you need to go if you're willing to hurt yourself to do it. But none of that applies this time. We're just doing the event. Depredation. You hear a growl as a fearsome predator descends upon you, and suddenly you're in a life or death battle. What the frick? Okay, so I'm encountering a predator. How this works usually is when you're foraging, you can encounter predators, and you have to either choose to flee or fight. Usually you need like a 12 plus to win a fight. Here, though, there's a medium option if I get a 6 to 11. And when you're fighting, you have to use strength or dexterity, and Helena has a 6 dexterity, so let's go, buddy. Yeah, let me show you how tests work for a second. So she's got a 6 for the stat, and then it's got different results, and I roll a single die. Now, there are tons of like tools and things that can give you bonuses, but here it's just a straight up test. Oh my gosh, did I actually... I actually got a 12. So you smash a creature's jaw and it withdraws. You gain 2 teeth. Hey, that was great. And notice that I did not spend any energy. Actually, this one could never have made me spend energy. The arduous journey would have. So this worked out way better than it should have. So here are some teeth. And these are materials. You'll notice that they are squares instead of like the little shapes. So these never degrade or anything. They do tend to take up a lot more space. And they have a processed and an unprocessed side. It always starts out on the unprocessed side. But then if I can get an item, in this case, it lets me grind and drill. Oh, geez, these ones need a lot. I'm not going to be able to use these anytime soon. But yeah, if you get something that lets you grind and drill, you can process them as an action, which flips them over. They then might have their own processing ability. So this one would give me cutting, and it becomes what all these symbols on the sides mean, something you can craft into an item, like, I don't know, some kind of spear or something. But yeah, here, these are useless to me until I get a bunch of other stuff. So a good chance I won't be processing those. I might just throw them away if I don't have room for them. All right, so Helena still has her full array of stuff. Let's go ahead and spend 2 energy to forage. And foraging is its own little mini game. So I shuffle up the prairie cards because I am on the prairie. Oh, and I do put a token to make things more expensive here. And what I'm going to do now is draw 2 cards, pick 1. And, oh my gosh. Okay, these are not great. There's a predator who's trying to attack me. And the first time you pick cards, you can pick anything you want. So I wish I hadn't gotten a predator, because once you have a predator showing on any of your cards, your choices become a lot more limited. So I'm going to pick this card. Now, what am I looking at? I've got 3 areas. I've got the foreground where this predator is, or where is that a stone? That's cool. Yeah, where the stone and wheat is. I've got the middle ground where the tree and the predator are here. And then I've got the background where this root vegetable, I think it is. And these are all things that you can forage. What you do is you keep on flipping cards, and you might get attacked by a predator eventually. But you can, at the end, whenever you choose to stop before you get attacked, you can get up to 3 of the same type. So 3 trees for wood, 3 root vegetables for food, 3 wheat for food I can't process yet. Wonderful. So you're trying to get a bunch of the same thing. Now you can also get bonuses. Like if I chose to harvest wheat, I would also get this cloud stone, this blue one, for free. So sometimes you want to do that kind of stuff. But yeah, the predator sucks. You don't want to have once the predator is in your face, that's when you get attacked and you lose your chance to harvest anything. So let's go ahead and do that. I shuffle the other card back in. So that predator is still potentially coming for me. And then I can do it again or stop. I'm going to do it again. Now, how the rule works is you have to pick a card. Once you have at least one predator down, you have to pick a card that shows a predator if possible. And if you have two cards that show predators, the predator has to be as close or closer than it currently is. So if I drew like a card with the predator in the background and that same card with the predator in my face, I'd have to pick the one with the predator in my face. Here I got lucky. I didn't get any predator. And I've got a lot more wheat. But how can I get the wheat? I need a grinding item to turn it into something I can actually eat. The great thing about wheat is that it does not decay. So once you've processed it, you're good to go, but it has an entire extra step. And I need something to grind with, which would have to be, a sunstone. So I need to go like into a cave or something to get that. Unfortunately, that cloudstone does not do it. So what else do we have? We have wheat. We have another root vegetable, but the key thing is things have to be in your reach. So it's not enough that I get 3 vegetables, for example. I need to have 1 vegetable in the foreground. That lets me access the foreground. Then I need to have a vegetable in the midground. That lets me access the midground. So to get to these vegetables way in the back, which is what I want because they're the easiest to eat, I would need to have 2 more vegetables showing. Ooh, there is water and a fish here, though, if I wanted to go for water. Well, either way, I'm going to get this card and shuffle this one back in. There are also little rabbit dudes bouncing around. Those are small game you can hunt, but I don't want them right now. Okay. I did get a predator, so I have to pick him. In this case, he was the only predator, so it doesn't matter that he's farther away. What's great, though, is I got a middle ground root vegetable. Wait, is that what that is? No. Oh, shoot. That's wheat and a friggin' cloudstone to grind the wheat. Oh, man. So actually, I could stop now. Because, again, I could get that card that would have the guy biting me, but I've already got enough. I can get 3 wheat. And I would get 2 free minerals. I mean, that's crazy. And one of them lets me process the wheat. So, yeah. Oh, and I didn't even read the card. Look, a character may place 1 or more food tokens, processed or unprocessed. So they will take the unground wheat. Heck yeah. So again, I can get up to 3 of these. And yeah, just take them all. And I'm also getting a cloudstone and a sunstone. So both of these need grinding to turn them to their craftable side. But notice, this is why I wanted it, the sunstone also provides grinding. Now, it can't grind itself, so I'd have to have like 2 sunstones to grind each other. But I could grind the cloudstone into its cracker side that lets me smash things, although I don't have anything that needs that right now. And just a note, I could grind the shark tooth, but I still need a drill tool first to actually be able to get it to its usable, awesome side. Wow, that was a great forage. All right, so that gets shuffled back in. All right, now I don't want to waste the extra actions. We might as well explore a bit. So Helena's still got 3 energy. Let's have her journey down here. Okay, so this one is totally blocked off by mountains. So again, the arduous journey is going to be bad for us. Ooh, but this is a great spot to build the outpost. We are not going to need any special tools to go over these. I think they're called salt flats. Dried flats, that's what it is. Also note that it is a clear hex side to go north here. Like, yes, there are mountains, but we go around them. So it'll be very easy to travel back and forth to here as well. So yeah, this is a great place to build the outpost. In fact, depending on how the journey goes, I might just try to bring Thorgar over here and we'll build it now. Okay, resolve if your hex has a mountain or moraine. Yes, it does. Mountain right there, obviously. Moraine are these like little sunken areas. That is, by the way, a word I've never heard before, so maybe I'm saying it totally wrong. The temperature drops rapidly, exposing you to dangerous conditions. Okay, we can test my awareness to find warmth. And I would add +2 if I had shelter or fire in my hex. Nope. Add +2 if you have clothing. Nope. But she does have a 5 awareness. Ooh, plus she can't stop. You shiver as you barely keep warm. Lose 1 energy. Okay, so she's down to 2. So to build the outpost, we need 4 energy. She's got 2, and so does Thorgar. And outposts are the only action, I think the only action, that you can share and like kind of complete together. So I could have Thorgar try to journey down here. And if I get lucky, because again, it's a free hex side, so I have a pretty good chance, he won't lose any energy and we can build the outpost right now. And if it doesn't work out, then she can still forage here, get some more grain, and finish off that Gather Stores quest. That would also be good, right? Although an alternative would be to send Helena up here. We could build shelter in this cave, because shelter gets you your 5th energy back each round when you're playing 2-player. The water and the food are already going to get me 4 energy each, but it certainly would be nice to have 5. So yeah, how about this? I'm going to have her forage here for her last 2 energy. Then she can move. She'll be taking a chance of losing energy and taking an injury, but meh. And then Thorgar, in fact, here we can do this right now. Thorgar is going to use his last 2 energy. 1 energy builds a shelter. It has to be in a cave, by the way. You can get shelter in the outpost later. So 1 energy builds a shelter for 1 person. Another energy upgrades it to 2 people. So now we can both get shelter there. So if Helena comes back, we'll be together and good, but she's going to spend her last 2 energy to forage again. And I'm definitely going for wheat. If we can get that, it's awesome. All right, this time we do not have any requirement to pick the predator. So we'll go for a non-predator one. Because as long as you can keep a predator away, you are not forced to keep getting predators. Oh, or I'll get a predator anyway. But it's another free stone. There's also tracks. Those allow you to hunt the prey. All right, so that's 2 wheat, which is enough to finish up the thing. But let's go 1 more. What are the chances we'll get killed? Pretty good. Dang, we didn't get any more wheat. All right, so we had to pick that one because he's farther away since they both had a predator on them. I could actually, by the way, get 3 wood and 1 vine, which is great. Like, that's really what you need for crafting stuff, but I want to get this gather stores thing done. All right, let's go one more time. Okay, good. No predator. So I just want wheat, but is there any wheat with a bonus thing? Whoops. There is not. So it doesn't really matter. Well, I guess I'll do the wheat there. Oh, but then 1, 2, 3. I don't need the back wheat anyway. So I get 3 wheat and another cloudstone. Wow. So I'm going to put 2 wheat here and 1 I'll actually keep to grind for myself later. Okay, and I will complete this at the end of the day since it has 5 tokens. So we'll get to that in a second. So everything's depleted. Let's go ahead and try to go home without getting hurt. Just to remind you, Helena has no energy, but you can still do it. Oh, and perfect. Okay, it says resolve if your hex has a glacier. Mine does not. Otherwise, resolve arduous journey. Remember, arduous journey is just checking if you went over an obstacle. I didn't. It was a free thing, so it costs 0 energy. Beautiful. That was a fabulous first day. So before I go to the night, I'm going to resolve this. You've managed to create a stockpile of food for the lean times to come. This says, they're missing a word. If there are more vegetables, is what they meant, than meat, then I get herbalism to my goals. Yeah, a lot of goals just give you more stuff to do, kind of like life. Okay, there are fascinating new kinds of flora that flourish in the valley. Expand your knowledge by sampling as many as possible. At any time, a character may place 1 or more vegetable food tokens from their inventory on this card. Additionally, a character can perform the following action. For 1 energy, test awareness to study flora. Add +1 to your result for each different food type on this card. Okay, so I need to just get a high value. That middle result, 8 to 10, gives you a bonus to your next awareness test. That's what that little arrow is. You get a +1 and then you discard the token. And, I would get an illness. Oh, and a major illness. That's what that icon at the bottom is for 1 to 7. That's bad. To explain how damage works, you've got 5 hearts and 2 player. You can see you have less than 3. If they all get filled, then you are incapacitated, which you don't want. And you have injuries and disease. They have a minor side and a major side. The minor side is easier to get rid of. Like, for example, every night that you have both water and food, you can get rid of 1 minor one, or you can flip a major one to its minor side. So yeah, having like a lot of major ones just makes it harder to heal yourself, basically. But they don't inherently have any other like big negative effect. All right, cool. Something to do. No pressure on the herbalism goal, though. I just didn't want to have that other one making my people unhappy every day. Okay, so we're all out of energy. Let's go to the night phase. So let's go through these steps. Check for any perished characters. No. If somebody was, they still had all 5 of their damage filled and nobody went and aided them, which is an action you can do to save them. Okay, then we recover. We get 2 for 1 or 2 characters, or 1 for 3 or 4. If we eat food, we get 1 more. If we drink water, we get 1 more. And if we're in shelter, we get 1 more. We have all those things. Or fire would also do that. So yeah, they each have a water and a food to eat. This is still technically in your inventory, by the way, but you can just put it here to kind of remind yourself of the daily need. So 2 for free, 1 for water, 1 for food, 1 for shelter. We're both back to 5, which is fantastic. Now, at standard difficulty, that is the only negative of not having food and water, by the way. But if you up the difficulty, you can actually take injuries and things from not feeding yourself enough. So it's a bit more of a harsh survival game. Okay, next 3, if you consume food and water, I can degrade 1 malady. Those are the injuries and diseases that I said. Nope. Oh, and I didn't realize this. If you did not consume any food or water, you suffer 1 minor injury. So I guess that does, I've never had that happen. But I guess even at normal difficulty, bad things happen. But yeah, if you up the difficulty, it's even worse than that. Okay, next 4 is perform night actions. That'll be like on items and abilities you have. We don't have any yet. And then big one, degrade tokens. Our food would spoil, but we don't have any spoilable food. Very important and helpful one. All of these go away, or if they're on the 2 side, they would go down to the 1. So now we can more freely fish and forage again. And then if we had fire, it would start going out. Okay, we're almost done. Then we reconcile inventory. So if we're in the same space, we can freely exchange stuff, which I'll do in a second. And then we have to make sure everything fits in our holding. Then we each do a night card. Then we're going to resolve the activity. We're going to add 1 activity point and do any challenges that have occurred, any challenge events. I'll show you that in a second. And then we would see if all our people were dead. That's the population 0 thing. Or if our unrest was at 20. Hopefully they won't be. I mean, there's no way they would. So reconcile inventory. We actually were able to fit everything for Helena, but we can freely trade since we're in the same space. So what the hey, let's give Thorgar 1 of the teeth and 1 of the cloud stones. We'll keep the wheat with Helena since she can actually grind it. But yeah, they're both fine for resources. Now we each in any order draw night cards. We'll have Helena go first. And kind of like the journey card, the top will tell you whether you resolve it or if you need special things. This one is resolved. Shuddering sky. Great clouds sweep across the sky and thunder claps in the distance. Rain begins to fall. Oh man, some of them are everyone in your hex. Okay, we must each test dexterity or whatever it is to move to safety. Add +2 if you have a cloak. Nope. All right, Alina's got a 6. I'm not worried about her. Oh, she only got an 8. So she suffers minor disease, not that big a deal. Thorgar only has a 2 though. So we got to 6, not enough. Okay, good. He just gets a disease as well. If 2 of us had gotten that, we would have advanced activity. So like wasted an entire round or lost an entire round. So that's good. So if nothing else bad happens, they can just heal themselves next round. Okay, next is Thorgar. Moonglow. You feel the moon's glow on your skin. In the face of cosmic vastness, you feel a sense of belonging. Oh, choose one and resolve it. Study the moon's path to the horizon. Place a mystery token in an adjacent hex, choosing hex with a lake if able. Or observe the pattern of the moon's craters. We could add 1 lore, or if I'm attuned, add 2. Or recount a fable of the moon. Spend 1 lore, and each character in your hex gains +2 to their next, whatever that skill was, the tree one. I'm going to place the mystery token in an adjacent hex. Those look like these. Each of them has, here, I'll show you a few. On the back, they have these little icons. And how it works is when you move into the hex, I'm going to put it here, by the way. When you move into the hex, you check the last night cards of the top card of the discard pile. Here we've got this little moon symbol. And you flip this, and if it has the same symbol, you get to resolve like a cool event in the codex. What usually happens is it doesn't match. And then you just get a single lore, which is what I would have gotten from the other choice anyway. So I figure we're definitely going to go down here, right? I'll give myself the chance to get something cooler. All right, and finally, we advance activity by 1. And we check if any thresholds have been reached. So no, we have not reached 2 yet. Each of these are single use one-time events. So once we reach 2, we'll do this one, but only once. Once we reach 4, we'll do this one, but only once. But all right, there you go. That was 1 full round of Stonesaga. Now you know a lot of the basics. I'll show you how mining works in a second, and then how crafting. We got to get to all of that. Oh, and I didn't show you the Stoke the Flame test, but let me show you now. A character with wood can perform the following action. For 1 energy, you discard the wood and test one of those 2 stats to make a fire. You can discard a fiber to add +2 to the check, and you need to get a 10. So Helena, with her 6 dexterity, if she had fiber, she would only fail on a 1. You keep the wood if you fail, but you lose the fiber if you use that. And then you get to place a fire on your hex. And when we begin a day in a hex with fire, we would finish this goal. And fire, as you can imagine, is great for a ton of resources that you might want to interact with. Speaking of interacting, what do I want to do? We need some water, we need some food. We could go fishing again for that or go foraging. Although we've seen the prairie makes it a little tough to get the food you need without processing it first, so probably fishing makes more sense. We also need to build the outpost. I want to go down here to do that. That's going to take a ton of energy. And I'd like to get some sticks so I can start crafting some actual tools to make myself suck less at everything. So that would probably need some wood from foraging and some materials from mining. We've got a lot of options of stuff to mine here. We could also head up to the glacier area, but I don't think there's much need for that yet. All right, let's have Helena spend 1 energy of her 5. Get water for both of us, why not? And then let's have Thorgar try to fish. That's 2. And we'll hopefully get food for both of us. All right, so stock, 2 fish. I like that. And, okay, there's the only place to get 2 dice on because a 5 is pretty high. Now let's see how we roll. That's not great. So I could do like a 5 and 3 here. That'll give me a high chance of getting 2 fish. That's a hide and a bone, which are both good, but I don't have like the things to actually influence them yet. Ooh, if the fish doesn't work out, I can get water and divine, or I think it's divine. That's certainly a good thing. This luck I'm almost certainly not going to get because it's a 5, so that's kind of dumb. I mean, all of these are going to be not great. So whatever, we can do that. And I don't even know what to do with this other 2. You got to put it somewhere. Okay, whatever. I'm just hoping I get the fish. And did I? Yeah, I think I'm okay, right? Because blue is going to there. So 5 plus 3 is 8. So I could choose to get this instead, but I'm not going to. And I did not suffer a badness, because remember, I would have to fail for whatever I tried to get. So I get this 2 fish, 1 for each of us. I'll share it right away. And there are no negatives, so clearly neither of these are going to work out, so that's all we get. Not a great fishing excursion, but until you get some items to help you fish better, that's kind of how it goes. All right, let's have Helena head down here. Okay, my hex does have dried flats and prairie. Okay. Treacherous sinkholes. You walk across a seemingly flat patch of ground. It gives way, trapping your legs. Test strength. She has 4 to dig yourself. Add +2 if you're wary. No, she's cunning. And +4 if you have a digging tool. Nope. So to stay straight up, 4 + 5, 9. And she's doing great. You dig into an animal midden. Roll the die and gain the corresponding bone, feather, or tooth. Don't want another tooth, man. 4 is a feather, which can be combined, since it has that blue there, even before it gets processed with a knife. And then because she went here, we check, is it the moon? It's not, it's a comet. So that gets discarded and we get 1 lore. 1 lore by itself is often not very useful, but if you get more, you can do some stuff. All right, cool, but she didn't lose any time. That was all good again. I'm loving Helena's luck for journeying. Okay, so I should probably have her gather to try to get some wood. Forage, I mean. That would let us try to make the fire and would also let us start crafting some useful stuff. All right, so I'll have her spend 2 energy. We're going to the prairie again. But this time it's all about the trees. Oh, man, either way. Well, I do get a tree in the foreground. That's great. And it's a tree with free pitch. Although pitch needs fire to do anything, so not that great. Okay. Oh, I got another bad boy. But, okay, I have 2 trees in the background, 1 with a vine. So if I can get a mid-ground tree, that'd be amazing. And I did. Awesome. So I'll stop now before this guy gets any closer. So tree with pitch, tree with nothing, tree with vine. Remember, you can do up to 3. Getting up to 3 sticks. With a knife and fire, you can make like a pointed stick, I guess. But these are actually just regular sticks, as you can imagine, are some of the best things for crafting. And I got pitch, which needs fire, and a vine, which needs a knife to be even usable. Great. All right, now what do I want to do? She's got 2 energy left, and he's got 3. And we really, if we're going to build anything useful, need to go delving into the mountains. We could do the chasm here if we want to not spend the extra energy, although like moving there and then moving back is going to put us in potential peril. We might not have enough energy for it. Well, let's take a chance. I mean, Helena's been doing so well. She'll move over there. And your hex does have a chasm. Water etched path. Within a chasm, you hear the running of water. Could there be something beyond this ravine? Okay, resolve the first you are able. If the verdant veil mark is on the primal cave wall. Nope, it's not. Add that. Nope. Oh, seek a path to downward. Add the world below goal. Oh, I have not gotten this one before. GZ05. Exiting this region is a dangerous endeavor that will benefit from the following: a rope and hammering tool and fire. At a hex with a chasm and at least 2 open edges, a character may embark on a venture. So yeah, these are like little adventures. I'm not going to do this anytime soon, but it's ongoing. It'll hang around until we're actually ready. But hey, the good thing is you shouldn't have to spend any energy. So let's spend 2 to show you how mining works. And mining is definitely the easiest and simplest. So we build a mining pool. So I'm going to take, there's 5 tokens of each, 1 for each of those night icons that you were also looking for with the lore. Oh, wait, I'm looking at the wrong one. There we go, chasm. I'm going to take 2 clay, 2 river stones, which I haven't gotten yet, and those are sharp, so that's very important, and 1 of the grinding sunstones, and put those in a bag. But I'm first shuffling up the 5 copies of each one, which again have 1 of each of those night symbols, because if I get the moon that is currently active, then something special will happen. And then I get to draw up to 3 of them. I do 1 at a time, and you could feel for which one you want to get, because I really don't want the clay. I don't need that for a while. That gets worked with wood. Oh, shoot, I never get these. So the first river stone I have got me a moon. I hope that doesn't mean I don't get any more. All right, this wasn't too bad. You put your foot down in a soft spot, it becomes trapped in shifting clods of dirt. I suffer a basic injury unless I have a digging tool, which I don't. Well, she's 2 fists dead, but I think I get to keep on pulling out. And let's try to get, okay, that one's safe. Then we get the last river stone. That one's also safe. I mean, obviously, there's only 1 of each copy. So I get the actual things for each. So I have another grinder. And then this one needs to be cracked. Oh, which means I need to grind the, the sky stone first. Or not the sky stone, the cloud stone. But that was mining, so you've seen all the main things now. All right, she's out of energy. But I'm going to have her try to get back to Thorgar and shelter. She is crossing a bad edge, so it might not go well. My hex has a chasm, yes. Strange spires. While traversing a deep ravine, you come upon strange spires of a fated people or purple hue. Reaching out to touch one. Okay, she's got a 6 for that. Add +2 if I'm attuned or wise. No, but 6 is pretty good. Nope, not there. You withdraw your hand, slick with blood. Suffer an injury, gain the wise trait. Dang it. All right, so now she's cunning and wise. Not that it's helping her much because she is really hurt. All right, now she has a billion things. Let's use some of them. So I'm going to spend 1 action to exchange goods. And remember, we can freely exchange again after or during the night. So I'm literally just giving him everything for a second. Okay, now I'm going to use his second to last energy to process. So here's how processing works. You can process up to 3 things, and each one needs to have, as I've noted, the correct tool to flip it. But very importantly, you can only use a tool to process something else once, although you can chain it together. So let's see. I really want to be able to crack that. So first I'm going to use one of my sunstones with its grinding capability to grind a cloudstone into where it has the cracking sign. Then I'm going to use that processed cloudstone to crack the riverstone into a cutting implement. So that's 2. And then finally, there's a billion other things I could do. I could use the other sunstone to process the wheat. I could process that sunstone. I could get another cloudstone processed. I could also use this to cut the vines. Actually, yeah, let's do that. We'll use that to cut the vines. So now we have many things that can be crafted. And hey, let's show you the game. Let's craft something. So how does crafting work? And I'm going to build something I already know how to build that I know is useful because that seems smart. So you take an item. Let's take a stick. And what would go well on a stick? How about a sharp riverstone? And I then have to see if they have icons in common. Here to get a little closer, they do. They've got red in common and they've got yellow in common. And then I have to put them together in whatever configuration seems to make sense. So like this one kind of looks like an axe, right? If I have like a riverstone there, or I could have it like that, a little bit different, or I could have it on the tip like a spear. Okay, and a lot of times, like, similar configurations will give you the same thing. But yeah, I'm going to make, I think it was like this last time I made it. I'm going to make it like this. And now how you actually judge what you've made is you look at the color of the leftmost column. Only the columns matter here. And again, the yellows have to be together. Doesn't matter if they have the same number. So look at the leftmost column and its color. That's red. So it's red. And then I count the number of icons in each column. 2, 3, 4, 1. 2, 3, 4, 1. So it's red, 2, 3, 4, 1. And I look in the codex for that entry and it tells me to get item 12, which is a Riverstone pick. So it's a mining item, it's a weapon, it maintains the cutting icon. Look at the top for that. It has an ability for fighting. When I test strength to fight, I can re-roll my die, and if the result of that roll is a 6, I have to discard this item so you can break it. And then it's got the mining hammer icon at the bottom that, remember, that world below wanted, and a lot of things will check if you have that. And then now when I mine, I can draw up to 4 mining tokens instead of 3. Heck yeah. And the great thing about items is that they don't fill up your bag anymore. Instead, they go into your hands for this one, or you can hold up to 4 in your bag. You can have up to 3 clothing items. But the resources you used are gone. Now, again, I can still have cutting thanks to the Riverstone pick. All right, cool. So that is the end of that day. And we are in shelter. We each have food and water, so we're each going to get all 5, and we each get to get rid of 1 of these, although Helene is still pretty hurt. We still don't have any night actions. Gathering is available again, and yeah, you can see, like, you don't need to run around a lot, at least in the beginning, especially with only 2 characters. With 3 or 4, we might need to kind of spread out more, and the shelter can only hold 2, so yeah, with higher player counts, you probably don't stay together as much. Okay, now we need to reconcile our inventory. Good lord. Actually, this is fine. So he should keep the Riverstone pick because it's good for fighting with strength, and he's already strong, so that'll work well for him. But yeah, clearly this could not all fit, but we're going to try to divide things up so they each have what they need to do stuff. All right, here we go. I made everything fit. He's got a grinding thing, and he's about to have a crashing together thing. I forgot about the wheat. I'll give that to her. Then importantly, she can crack her own Riverstone and make her own spear or pick or some other instrument of death. So they'll both have a way to cut things, so yes. All right, now let's do our night cards. Resolve if your character is old. Otherwise, resolve Tranquil Night. Herg my back. Nope. We'll be old in the next game. Okay, so it said Tranquil Night. What that would do is we would get an extra energy, like if we hadn't eaten or hadn't been in shelter. When you have shelter for everything, you instead get to pick any of your attributes and add one of these +1 tokens, which will boost the next time you do it. Let's make her dexterity like amazing so she can get like a really good result on something. Okay, meanwhile for Thorgal, resolve, oh no, if any character in your hex is diseased, and Helena is. Spreading foulness. A vile odor awakens you from your slumber. Okay, if there's a outpost with a waste pit in your hex or adjacent hex, nope. The disease spreads. Unless you spend 2 lore, nope. Each character in your hex suffers a major disease. Then if 2 or more characters have major disease, oh my god, 993, great. Are you freaking kidding me? You grow dreadfully ill. In the morning, you hear others coughing. If the plague mark is on the primal cave wall, add a lore. Otherwise, add pestilence to your looming challenges. So this is going to sit until we finish the scenario, and then it'll become an option of what our next scenario would be. If we ignore it because it's a peril thing, terrible stuff will happen and we'll lose population. Just from her coughing? Stop coughing. Okay, then activity goes up to 2, so we're doing the valley event. Unusual omens abound within the valley. Choose an omen. Until the end of the next day, treat that omen as a current omen. Geez, we already have cloud and sun. I don't know, we'll do comet too. I don't know if that's really something I want though. All right, before we do anything else, let's do some crafting. So I'll have Helena, what was it? Oh, she'll crack the river stone, that's 1, and she'll grind the wheat, that's 2. There we go. So she's got her food if she wants it, although that doesn't degrade, so we want to get like some fish or something instead. Well, actually, you know what? Let's maybe have her forage first, since everything is put back to normal here, because then she can maybe use the full 3. All right, here we go. We definitely need more vines, more sticks would be fine, or just some food. Gosh darn it. Freaking predators. Although we did get a tree with vines, that's cool. Or water and fish, that's great. Okay, I have to use the person. Got nothing else I want there. By the way, these are tracks. So now there's tracks here and tracks here, which would let me catch. You can get up to 3 of these small prey. So if I get like a 3rd one, I could try to fight them all. And she is dexterous. She would actually do really well with it. Maybe I will do that. Oh, and that guy's got a bone, although I have to pick the one with the predator. They're still far away, though. That's good. And let's keep going. So I have to pick one of the 2. And I could get this. That would let me get 3 sticks, but I do already have sticks. But that would also give me vines and feathers. But yeah, I kind of like the idea of her going hunting. Let's show you how that works. So when you hunt, you can either get up to 3 small prey or 1 large prey. Large prey are in the forest. And I need to have, again, tracks leading to them. So here I've got tracks here, so I can get that guy. Then I'm not sure if I also need tracks to get them, but either way, I've got 3 with the tracks. Now, if I'm trying to get 3, it is tougher, but look, I just need an 8 or higher dexterity, and she has a +1, so she does it automatically. Oh, good thing that she had the token to make her have a 7, but now it goes away. Now I get 3 game meat, 2 guts, and 1 bone. So the guts need some fire, so maybe I'll get some fire. There's the meat, which will last 2 days, so that's cool. Don't have to cook it. And the bone I can use right away, so I'm sure I can make a cool tool with that. I would need, like the tooth, a drill, and a knife to actually process it. And yeah, so I'll go ahead and give one of the meat to Thorgar and hang on to the wheat because, heck yeah, actually she'll give the other meat to Thorgar. Now they can both eat for 2 days. And speaking of Thorgar, I'll have him get some water for us. And you know what? I'm actually going to have him get a second one because I have a plan here. I'm thinking I might go down and make a fire for shelter and build the outpost. So let's have Helena go down here. See what other injuries she can get. Yep, my hex has a chasm. While exploring the mouth of a hollow, you see a sphere. It is twice as tall as you and inexplicably smooth. Can I not? Okay. Tess Green, that's 4. +2 if she's inquisitive. She's not. +4 if she has the underworld. Nope. Oh, she can't possibly succeed. Oh, wait, she can. I totally forgot. And I think I rolled I rolled 6s before. Whenever you roll a 6, this is an exploding crit game. You get to roll another die. What? Why is she so good sometimes? What? Okay. 16 +4 is... Oh, no, it is 16. +4 is 20. I guess she does get this. 982. What the hell? There's a blinding flash, and you look away. Opening your eyes, you discover you are no longer in the cave. You feel dazed, but oddly empowered. No, don't suffer an injury. God, she is 1 away from being freaking... Oh, she gets +2 to every ability for her next test? Wow, and the +2 degrades to a 1, so she's actually going to get a boost to the next 2 tests for each ability. And then either you find yourself restored to youthful vigor if she's old. Nope. Or this has given you perspective beyond your years. If you're young, she can become inquisitive, lucky, or wise. She's already wise. Let's get lucky, because she kind of needs it. Oh, then illustrate the saga of the odd finding on the primal cave wall, including the mystery mark. So yeah, your cave wall is where you draw images representing like things that have happened to your people. And as you saw with that earlier pestilence thing, it can actually be checked by other events. And you can like draw it however you want, and you actually get access to other colored pencils. I just don't know where I put mine. But at the beginning of the game, you only have access to black because you haven't discovered pigment yet. Okay, so it was like, I'm not a good artist. Why do you have me draw a game? Okay, but there we go. Awesome. You can barely even see it. Good job, Mike. Oh, interesting. It says to return this card to the game box, so I can never have that one again. I mean, kind of makes sense. But all that is to say that she did not, she did not have to spend an energy. She will spend an energy to try to make fire, especially with her +2 dexterity. So she needs a 10. She has 8. That's enough. That is discarding her 1 wood, but she has a bone instead. So she puts a strong fire. It'll last 2 turns, and it acts like shelter for keeping you with getting extra energy. Remember, if we begin our day here, we'll get to flip this over. All right, now Thorgar is going to try to join her. Resolve your X has a... Yep. Oh no, not on short footing. I definitely do not have good dexterity as a 2. Give me some 6s like Helena. Oh, 5. You skid down the slope and scrape your leg on a sharp rock. Suffer an injury and gain 1 Riverstone. Nice. Now, I was going to build the outpost now, but we have a ton of stuff. I think we should probably spend some time crafting first. Yeah, I mean, look at all this. So sure, she'll process so she can crack her Riverstone to make it sharp. And she can use the fire. Fire, by the way, you can use over and over again. You don't have to limit it. She can use the fire and the Riverstone to turn those into guts. And then, I guess she can process the pitch into, is that like a bowl? What is that? All right, let's build something. I mean, for now, I'm just going to make it basic and make like a bone knife or kind of the same thing, right? I don't want to pick again. Let's try like that. It might all be the same. Oh, I mean, I can even see. Look, red 2, 3, 4, 1. You're allowed to look at this. So yeah, I would get a pick if I did that. Well, let's do this instead. It's not a spear. I've not made this before. So that's blue 2, 2, 4, 3. You've made a Riverstone Adze. An Adze is used for digging, can be used as a decent weapon if necessary. All right, here we go. We've got cutting and digging. When you test strength to fight, you can reroll. Yep. When you forage, you may choose up to 4 root plants to harvest. Nice. So she's out of steam. Let's see what he can craft. I think I might have him craft and then go foraging as well. Although maybe I should forage first, right? That would make sense. Oh no, we don't have any room to hold it all if we forage. Once I actually build the outpost, you can build things like hold materials and stuff. Makes everything a lot smoother. But I haven't done that yet. All right, so yeah, we'll process. Okay, so what was the combo? Grind the cloudstone, crack the riverstone, and then cut, the feather. And then I want to keep the sticks and the vines, because we're going to need them for the outpost in a second. So what else could I build? I mean, let's see. I could put the rocks together. Would that make any sense? Or the feather in a rock? It seems like it won't work, but hey, let's try it. So the null means a 0, and the yellow is the only way to put these together. This is going to be dumb. 5, 4, 1, 0, blue. Yes, as expected, dumb Mike. It was nothing. Like if there's no entry there, you just don't do it, but you still waste the time. You don't waste the materials, of course. Well, darn it, I'm not going to have room for stuff. I should have used an action to get her materials, and then I could have... maybe... she's got a little bit of extra room, but yeah, I should build something. Well, hey, let's try putting some rocks together. I don't see how it could work, but anything's possible. Oh, we got spark stones. Oh, cool. It maintains their cutting and crushing, and it gives me the fire keyword at the bottom, even if I'm not at the fire. And as an action, I can spend 1 wood. I can use green now instead of dexterity, which is good. And I'll need an 8 instead of a 10. That's cool. And the big thing is it just sits in my backpack whenever I need it and doesn't use up space, because now we can fit everything. All right, good job, y'all. All right, so we're going to sleep. We're eating our meat. Cozying up next to the fire, so getting full energy back and slowly digging away at our extreme injuries and disease. We do have to degrade, where is it? The meat, that's right. Wait, didn't I flip this? Pretty sure I did. Maybe I'm cheating there. My inventory's fine. So let's do night cards. Thorgar first. Ideas as wide as the sky. More people means a greater variety of ideas, values, and beliefs. The more your society grows, the more complex individuals' lives and loyalties become. Okay, so my population is still only 8. If there's another character in your hex, get a lore. Otherwise, tranquil night. Okay, then for Helena, do we have a mountain, definitely. Deadly chill. Everyone in my hex, gosh darn it. You wake up shivering as the temperature drops precipitously. Everyone in your hex tests strength to endure. Add +2 if they have a clothing item. Oh, and +2 if we have fire. All right, Thorgar is 6, +2 from the fire. 8, 11. He gets a minor illness. Helena is also an 8, thanks to her +2. Dang it. She also gets a minor illness, almost incapacitated. Oh, by the way, speaking of the fire, it degrades 1 level. All right, activity increases to 3, so 1 more day before we do that one. But hey, at the start of the day, we get to do the Flame Goals 155 entry. Your familiarity with fire has grown, and with tenacity, you can create a flame through friction reliably. Still, you cannot help but wonder if there are quicker ways to make sparks. Well, yeah, with my spark stones. So we gain the fire-making knowledge card that just kind of reminds us of the rule. Oh, we get to draw some fire. Oh, Lord help me. And then we get the fire pit structure for free without spending any lore. That's awesome. And we get the Hearth Tender mental power and secret ways to our goals. Geez, a lot. All right, to show all of this, you'll see more of these in a second. These structure cards are things you can build in an outpost once you have the outpost, kind of like permanent upgrades. Usually it would cost this much lore to discover them and be able to use them. But to actually build one of my outposts would cost a stick and, 3 unprocessed, that's not as bad, but 3 unprocessed sunstones and fire. And then I would get a fire pit. And you're allowed to look at these freely once you have the design. So it gives you a place to store wood, and it makes it easier for you to make a fire anytime you want one in the outpost. Okay, then I got a mantle power, and this goes on the mantle of the protector, so now it would actually matter which class and miniature I picked as you unlock more of these. It says Hearth Tender. Characters in your hex add +1 to group tests. That's a keyword that'll be in some of those tests. And then when fire in your hex would degrade, I can exhaust this to prevent it from degrading or to degrade it twice. And most like this one on the degraded side say that you get to refresh it at the start of each day. So you can basically keep a fire going forever. That's cool. Now I can't equip that now, even if I had the Mantle of the Protector. It has to be during setup. And finally, new goal, the secret ways. A valley's filled with interconnected chasms, caves, and tunnels. Perhaps you can find something to address your current problems deep in this strange underworld. Oh, now we can go delving. I actually haven't done this yet. But the delving deck into play. In a hex with a cave or chasm, a character can perform the following action. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm also not going to show you behemoths in this video. There's enough going on, I think. Well, I will at least show you outposts and maybe try to get my village made. So I'm going to have both of them spend 2 energy together to build an outpost over the flats right here, so it's not going to impact anything. So here you go. I don't need any special tools, although I do have the tools to build a lot of stuff now. Now, this is not an obstacle if I wanted to move like past it here. And yeah, now, and it also doesn't give me any shelter or fire automatically. I have to build things for it. But I now get a bunch of free structures, actually everything 1 through 7 except the fire one. And I get a new goal, and the one that'll actually finish this challenge, finish the session, which is to build a village. I need to have 3 structures in the same outpost, which is pretty expensive. I can get a thatched shelter for 2 processed vines, 3 and 3 wood, storage containers for 2 wood and 2 vines, underground storage for digging, 3 wood and 2 vines, a waste pit. Well, that one's actually pretty easy. I just need some clay. Is that processed clay? I don't think it even is. And digging, which I have. Drying racks, just 2 sticks and a vine. And a workbench, a regular stick, a sharpened stick, and 1 of each stone. Ooh, and that would give me digging, and it can hold 3 materials of any kind. That's pretty awesome. So yeah, we're not going to get all of that, but that is what would end the challenge. So let's just finish out this day with our last 3 energy, and I think that'll be enough for the video to kind of show you the basics of how this game works. So I planned ahead. We each have water and food to last. We've got fire, so really all we need to do is harvest and build stuff. And I'm actually going to send Thorgar up here to get the clay for that one thing. Twilight Glow. If you have 2 or fewer energy, I don't. I have 3. Otherwise, Arduous Journey. And it was a clear hex side, so we're good. And he's going to go mining. Now that he's got his pick, he can get 4 instead of 3 tokens. And he's mining in the chasm because, look, that's got 2 clay and 2 riverstones and a sunstone. I actually want 2 clay, riverstone, and a sunstone. I don't need 2 riverstones. Because 3 riverstones would let me make the fire pit. Or sorry, sunstones, and I've already got 2. By the way, the top omen is the moon again. So let's see, 1 sun, that's our first clay, and 1 of the river stones we don't care about, that's a comet, that's fine. And then sunstone, fine, and the other clay, fine. All right, so he's got a ton of stuff, let's head home. Resolve your hexes on or adjacent to a ruin or a mystery token. I don't think so. So Arduous Journey, we're good. All right, so I think I'm going to actually give her everything for his last action, and then she can give it back to him later. We'll build the easy things first. Oh, wait, she doesn't have energy. I was going to build a waste pit and a fire pit, but they both take 2 and she only has 3. That's right, and she wanted to forage too. So let's forage first, just to make use of it, and then she'll build something for 1. What would be 1? Shoot, only drying racks, which would let us hold meat, which we don't have. Yeah, I don't want to waste any of this. All right, so instead, she'll build the fire pit. So that's going to cost 2 energy. And all of these... Oh, do we have nothing to crush with now? Sorry, not crush, grind. That's going to be a problem. Well, we'll just have to find more, I guess. And 1 stick. And then we technically write the fire pit on an outpost card. There's a card for each outpost. Keep track of it. I'll do that later. And then I guess she'll process for her last action. So we can turn the clay into a clay brick, but we don't want to if we're going to build the waste thing. I'm not sure if she should process. Oh, sure, I can't hurt anything. All right, so she'll process this with the Adze and the fire. And then she can process this with the stone. And I'm going to process the clay because I need it. And that'll be it, but you can see that we would be about ready to complete the final goal and move on. Whoops. And then when we get to move on, we could deal with our pestilence or something else. We would keep our population. We would keep any unrest we've earned. We would keep the map. We would keep the outpost. But our characters would get old, and then if we played one more time, they would die. And we might get new locations added. We would keep all these ongoing goals, but like we didn't seek the omens yet, so that would go away. Oh, and I forgot the world below one. So yeah, you can kind of see how the game would evolve and move on. You didn't even get to see the behemoths yet. That's fun. But I'll talk about all that more when I finally get to reviewing this one. I'm going to definitely have to play it a lot more to get a full picture of it. But I hope you enjoyed that, everybody. That was Stonesaga. Thanks for watching, and a special thank you to our biggest Patreon supporters, J. William F., Steve Wren, Miles, KCW, Andrew R., and Chris C. We'll see you at the next stop.